call.
Abdurrahman.
Here.
Jennifer.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Allison.
Here.
Nick.
Here.
Kara.
Here. And can I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, agenda is approved. I don't see any public comments. I don't think we have any submitted. Okay, great. We're going to move into our action items tonight. Some unfinished business for the retiring board. First is to accept the canvass of votes for the November 4th, 2025 election. And the recommendation is to accept the canvasses of votes as received from election officials.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or discussion here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. B is to accept the affidavits of depository June 30th, 2025. The recommendation is to the board accept the affidavits of depository for June 30th, 2025.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or discussion here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C is to approve change order number 16 for Knutson Construction, East Ridge Elementary. Recommendation is to approve the change order in the amount of $39,500 as a deduct from the retainage and to process payment of the settlement agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, questions or discussion here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D is to approve change order number 2 for the baseball softball complex phase 2. Recommendation is to approve change order number 2 for the baseball softball project phase 2 in the amount of $665.99.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or discussion here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item E, approve pay app number 2 for Tricon Construction Baseball Softball Phase 2. The recommendation is to approve pay app number 2 for the Baseball Softball Complex Phase 2 to Tricon Construction in the amount of $260,536.83.
So moved. Second.
Questions or discussion here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item F, approve change order number 1, Park Planet Oak Hill Elementary Playground. The recommendation is to approve change order number 1 to correct the project cost adjustment due to a clerical error.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and I believe I saw that it was like we'd get some money back, correct? $600 back. Okay. Great. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item G is to approve pay app number 1, Park Planet Oak Hill Elementary Playground. So this recommendation is to approve the pay app to Park Planet for Oak Hill Elementary Playground in the amount of $115,556.26.
So moved. Second.
Questions or discussion here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item H is to approve board policy revisions and review. The recommendation is to approve policy 80201 maintenance schedule, 80202 requests for improvements, 80203 emergency repairs, 80204 capital assets, 80205 buildings and sites adaptation for persons with disabilities, and 80206 vandalism.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And finally, to approve the consent items, the recommendation is to approve the consent items as presented.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Thank you to our donors for the gifts and donations.
Yeah, thanks for all the gifts.
Yeah, that's great. Anything else? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. So finally, if we have any discussion items, any unfinished business to come before retiring the board.
Thank
for
you.
your service.
Yeah, thanks for your service.
Yeah. Thank you for everything you did for our students and community and staff, and don't be strangers.
Yeah, thinking about tonight, I'll say that I know we're going to miss you guys in a lot of ways. So thank you for your service. Coming onto the board, I didn't know what to expect. And Kara was at the helm and had great leadership and had been doing it for 3 years. And it's a tireless, thankless job. So thanks for your leadership during those 3 years and continuing this year. Jennifer, I think of you as our policy queen. So if I have a question about policy, you still might get a call. And your passion for making sure that our policies are up to date is really unparalleled. So thank you. And Sean, you're gonna get lots of calls still about construction projects because I don't know what they're talking about ever. And you have really good points that have helped the district, keep financially responsible and out of some potentially liability situations. So thanks, you guys. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, just thanks to the community and the people who supported and got me in this seat. I've enjoyed my last 4 years. Thank you all.
Same. Thanks.
Okay, if there's nothing else, who wants to do?
Motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this meeting is adjourned.
You will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Director at the Clear Creek Amana Community School District as now and hereafter required by law. Okay, join us.
Pick a seat and
Really? This is my spot.
wait, did Nick not have to do it again? The oath?
There you go.
He didn't have to redo his oath because he was just reelected?
You right here?
Okay. You have to do it both.
Well, of course you do.
I just want to make sure we are.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody would ever caught it, but.
All right.
We'll just do you here separately. How's that sound?
Or do you want me to move these?
My neighbor.
Those, yeah, you can, wherever Keel would like to have those would be
It's the
great.
best spot.
Rick?
There. Center stage here. No.
Don't read me that, that was blowing.
I think I am completely just.
Where did you put it? Oh, it's right there by Casey. Casey, take it.
solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Director in the Clear Creek Community School District as now and hereafter required by law.
I will.
Yep. Yep.
As President Pro Tem, I will move forward and call the meeting to order and do the roll call as well. Abdurrahman.
Here.
Casey.
Here.
Nick.
Here.
Gabe.
Here.
And Braden.
Here.
Do I have a?
And I'm here.
I'm sorry,
It's
Allison.
okay.
Allison.
It's okay. Just for the record, I thought you might need it.
I do need you on there. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I would entertain a motion. Oh, all those in favor?
Aye.
I would entertain a motion to for nomination as president of the board.
I nominate Allison as president of the board.
Second.
All nominations cease. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now it's your turn.
Oh, I have to say it first, don't I?
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa? You will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of president at the Clear Creek Community School District as now and hereafter required by law. You're in charge.
Yep. All right. And I will entertain a motion for an election of, or for the vice president.
Motion for Abdurrahman Bila.
Seconded.
Okay. All those in favor? Don't we need a full approval?
Nomination seized or?
You doing it?
Since there's only one, you can.
You just go with it?
Yep.
Sweet. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of Vice President in Clear Creek Community School District as now and hereafter required by law? Okay, and we have an appointment to fill a board vacancy. So the recommendation is to approve the appointment of Rick Hergert to fill the at-large director vacancy for a 2-year term.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, go ahead and have him do the oath of office as well.
Here.
Yeah, and then you come up here, Mr.
Hello.
Okay. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties of the office of a director in Clear Creek Community School District as now and hereafter required by law?
I do. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, now we get to the part most of you are here for. So thanks for your patience this evening as we took care of some business. Now we're going to get into one of the more fun parts, our student and staff recognition. And I believe I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Hammond.
All right, thank you everybody for coming. Our student and staff recognition is something that we do once a month. Our staff nominate other staff and students, and we're here to celebrate the winners of the nominations. So first of all, we're going to start with Zoe Terabay. Can we come on up, Zoe? And Brittany Cox. nominated her. Brittany is going to read her nomination. Yep, I sure do. There you go.
Zoe is incredibly deserving of a student of the month because she embodies perseverance, kindness, and a true love of learning. Just over a year ago, she came to America knowing little English, and as a member of the deaf and hard of hearing community, her tremendous growth has been nothing short of inspiring. I have never experienced a student so genuinely interested in learning. Zoe eagerly asks clarifying questions, reviews lessons with her parents after school, and constantly seeks to expand her knowledge. She has made remarkable progress in building her vocabulary, reading comprehension, and math skills. Zoe faces her adversities with positivity, always wearing the biggest smile and maintaining an uplifting mindset that brightens our classroom. She speaks 4 languages and is currently studying French and Arabic, showing her deep curiosity and determination to grow. She models what it means to be engaged, respectful, and exceptional, ERE, every day, reminding her peers of these values through her actions and attitude. Her kind heart and positive nature have helped her form strong friendships in her first year in the district, and she's always respectful and eager to help both staff and classmates. Outside of the classroom, Zoe's a gifted pianist and dedicated gymnast, showing the same focus and perseverance that make her such an exceptional student. She is truly a role model and an inspiration to everyone around her.
Thank you. All right, and now we're gonna invite up our middle school students of the month, and that's Ariana Reynolds. And she was nominated by Jamie Stratton.
I nominated Ariana Reynolds for Student of the Month because she is an outstanding leader, learner, and role model in our school community. I've worked with Ariana since she joined student council in 6th grade, and her dedication has only grown. I was thrilled to have her in my math class this year. Ariana consistently gives her best effort, supports her classmates, and works collaboratively to ensure everyone she is working with understands the material, not just herself. She is polite, respectful, and she contributes meaningfully both academically and through her involvement in our yearbook and student council clubs. From capturing important moments for our school yearbook to creating a slideshow honoring over 50 veterans for our Veterans Day breakfast, Ariana continually demonstrates maturity, responsibility, and a genuine desire to make our school a better place.
All right, now I'm going to welcome up here our high school student of the month, Mackenzie Burnett. And Mr. McCumber is going to read the nomination. She was nominated by Chris Copeland, but he is at WAMAC Honor. Honor Band. Yeah, Honor Band tonight. So.
That's okay. All right, so on behalf of Mr. Copeland, it is my honor to nominate Mackenzie Burnett for recognition by the Clear Creek Amana School Board. Mackenzie is an outstanding representative of the values we strive to instill in our students. Humility, work ethic, leadership through service, and the ability to inspire others through genuine kindness and integrity. Mackenzie has faced significant adversity in her journey, yet she continues to approach life with optimism, gratitude, and a desire to make a difference for others. Rather than allowing challenges to define Mackenzie, she has used those experiences to deepen her empathy and strengthen her resolve. Her ability to stay grounded in her core values has made her quite a powerful example of resilience and character within our school community. As a leader in the band program, Mackenzie's influence extends far beyond music. She leads with humility and a servant's heart, focusing on lifting up those around her. She is intentional about building relationships and ensuring that every student feels valued and included. Mackenzie's peers look to her not only for her musical ability, which is pretty outstanding, and leadership skills, but also her authenticity and encouragement. Mackenzie embodies what it means to lead by example. She demonstrates consistent dedication to her craft, takes initiative in helping others, and approaches every rehearsal, performance, and interaction with a sense of purpose and care. Mackenzie's presence has strengthened the sense of community within the band and far beyond. In every sense, Mackenzie represents the best of Clear Creek Amana, a student whose kindness, perseverance, and service-minded leadership inspired those around her to be better. She truly is deserving of recognition for the positive impact Mackenzie continues to make in our school and community, and that's from Mr. Copeland.
Thank you.
All right, now I'm going to ask Gary Potter, and he was nominated by Denny Schreckendabs.
Gary Potter was my nomination, and Gary's willingness to cover any route on short notice, train new staff so they're prepared to test for the DOT test, which is pretty vigorous in the last few years. He leads by example and is a true asset to CCA. His desire to make every day safe and enjoyable for students is second to none. Gary's knowledge of the district roads and procedures allows him to be a go-to for any staff that might have a question. Gary puts others first when making decisions about safety and recognizing hazards bus driving presents. It is truly a pleasure to work with Gary. If there were a school bus driver draft, Gary is a first-round pick.
Now I welcome up Tarina Toy, and she was nominated by Lindsay Shaw and Jordan McAllister.
We could not think of another teacher more deserving of recognition than Tarina Toy. Tarina is full of so much knowledge, and she is always willing to share ideas in order to improve learning for our students and to build the repertoire for our teachers. In addition to her instructional coach duties, she has invested her own time and money into making an action-based learning lab at CCE. Our students and teachers are loving this new initiative, and we know it would not have been possible without her passion and dedication to expanding her own learning and then sharing that with all of us. CCE is so lucky to have Mrs. Toy.
So Tarina has been described by many as an angel on earth. She's a friend to all and pours her heart and soul into our staff and students every single day. So you have heard how Tarina has impacted both of us, but we thought that it would be fun to hear some thoughts from some students and staff. So we gathered just a couple things from kiddos and a couple staff members, what they love about the new action-based learning lab and how they describe Mrs. Toy. So one of the students said that they love this working on the stones and walking on little stepping stones and practicing their reading and working with their friends to help them learn. And he says, Mrs. Toy is always so nice to us. Another student says they love the action-based learning lab because it's kind of like tag games, but you learn at the same time. And he says he loves getting to have his friends do it with him and that Mrs. Toy is nice and sweet. Another student says that her favorite part is rolling before she gets to sound out her word, and she says Mrs. Toy is fun. Another student loves getting to show Mrs. Toy her handwriting because she's always so proud of her. And then another student said that they like the spinny thing and then showing the letters, and that when we're doing small groups, Mrs. Toy always comes in and is a helpful hand. A couple of notes from some teachers. Mrs. Petrozelka says, I just love how knowledgeable she is, and when she puts her heart into something, it becomes beautiful, and you can picture everything she puts into it. And Mrs. Zachariah says, Tarina is always willing to help. When I think about Tarina, I think of how she always says, oh, I've got chills. When students have a big accomplishment, she truly cares deeply about all of our kids. So as you can see, when anyone is asked to describe Mrs. Toy, kindness and dedication are words that are consistently shining through. Tarina truly makes a profound impact on all of our students and staff at CCE.
All right, now if I could have Bree Moore come up, please. Bree was nominated for Staff of the Month for the middle school, and she was nominated by Dalton Bennett, and he's unable to be here tonight. So I'm going to read what he nominated for you, or what he submitted. Bree has managed her duties as science teacher by finding great resources to supplement our work. She also has great relationships and connections with her students and finds ways to make science interactive and relevant to the students' lives outside of school. She also has helped with the school play the past years and is now taking the lead on it. She models good character and kindness in her classroom daily. Students feel comfortable in her classroom and make it a point to come see her past 6th grade. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. And now could we have Marissa Moore and Mr. Daniel? Mr. Daniel will read the nomination for Mrs. Moore.
So Marissa is here tonight so that we can celebrate her being named the Regional Teacher of the Year, which is an extremely rare and distinguished honor that she shares with only 8 people across the state. She exemplifies dedication and excellence by balancing her teaching responsibilities, which include teaching freshman English, our newspaper class, and 2 AP courses. In addition to that, she is the sponsor of our student council, and under her guidance, the student council has made a meaningful impact in the CCA community. She has currently organized the Thanksgiving food drive, where we have 70 bags of food sitting at the high school ready to be delivered to needy families. She also is organizing the Sponsor a Family initiative during Christmas to provide gifts to families. And finally, she also is spearheading our mental health initiatives in the spring. So she is very, very busy, and I think that this is also a good opportunity just for me to recognize Matt, her husband back there, because without little off script, but I do recognize that your support of her is crucial, just because the amount of time that she is devoting to CCA well exceeds what can be done during a traditional school day. And so some of that probably comes at the sacrifice of him having to share her with us. And so for that, we appreciate that. So.
All right, if I could have all the winners for the staff and student of the month come on up, please.
I was like, I'll work that way and I'll come back. Go back. I'll go by you, Zoe. I can bend down a couple of feet.
Are we all in?
You want us to?
No, you're good. You guys are good. Okay, I think we're all good. I see you. Can you all see me? Yeah.
Hold your thing up higher. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Trina, you too. Higher.
All right, ready? Awesome. Congratulations.
We'll continue our meeting, but we'll take a short break for anybody who would like to exit now to do so.
Thank you, Lori. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How perfect is that? You too.
You may have seen this picture on other meetings, but we rotate who takes the pictures. We always lose track, but so we went ahead and just did it tonight, and so the next time. Yeah, we just go. All right, we'll continue then. I don't see any community public comments, none submitted to you for this meeting either. Great. We'll move right into our presentations then, and I see we have our FFA presenters here. So the first presentation is the FFA National Convention Experience.
Thank you.
On October 28th through the 31st, 8 of our FFA members had the opportunity to attend the 98th Annual National Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana. It was held at the Indianapolis Convention Center and Lucas Oil Stadium. As I said, 8 of our members attended. Those attendees were Gracelyn Whitehead, Corinne Drake, Taylor Vitito, Tate Riggin, Abby Seward, Hayden Kokenhauer, and Audrey Bolachek. Along with our members was our advisor, Alyssa Amelon, and along with them was 73,000 other members from across the country.
On our first day, along with many hours of driving, we arrived at RDM Aquaculture, which is the 3rd largest shrimp farm in the U.S. We learned from the owners, Daryl and Carolina, about how they founded the shrimp farm in 2010. It was interesting to see the tanks they raised the shrimp in. You could tell from the owners that they were passionate about what they do, striving to be 100% sustainable and researching ways to improve the shrimp industry. It was also interesting to learn exactly what other shrimp producers are putting into their shrimp, unlike RDM Aquaculture, who sell their shrimp live to prove freshness. The morning of October 29th, we went to the expo and convention, which was held at the Indianapolis Convention Center and Lucas Oil Stadium. At the convention center, we went to the expo portion, which held a wide selection of FFA paraphernalia, and to the convention portion, which had tons of college booths and other agricultural-related businesses. I personally found the college booths very interesting because it broadened my view on how many colleges I actually had that I could attend.
The keynote speaker at the opening session of the 98th National Convention and Expo was Eric Jackson. He spoke about taking you and your leadership to the next level, and that all leaders always lead by 3 major concepts. 1, don't be scared to destroy the box of insecurities and lies that you surround yourself with. 2, no matter what, give 110%. And 3rd, do you unapologetically. Be yourself no matter the audience. One thing that resonated with me the most was the importance of being you and not trying to fit into a mold that you aren't.
Members traveled to Umbarger Show Feeds in Franklin, Indiana on Thursday, October 30th. We toured the facility and learned how they package, mix the feed, and create rations depending on the animal. Umbarger started as a horse feed company but advanced to a large variety of animal feeds. While at Umbarger, we observed the robotic feed stacker and packager. The benefits I noticed at Umbarger was the possibility to pursue interest in an animal feed specialist. A supervisor gave us a great tour of the facility while explaining what led him to having this profession today. This was a valuable experience that we would not have been able to experience without attending the National FFA Convention.
Our FFA chapter, as well as another FFA chapter, visited a candy store, which used to be a train station. The train station switched to a candy store in the year 2015. And ironically, Franklin, Indiana is also Johnson County. So we visited the Johnson County Fairgrounds and took pictures as well as took ideas for our own Johnson County Fairgrounds. We were a little early for that next tour, so we found a park and took a little break there.
On Thursday, October 30th, we also toured Poe Hampshire Sheep Farm in Franklin, Indiana. While there, we learned about the importance of artificial insemination of Hampshire lambs. Stan also shared about the logistics of how his family lambs over 400 sheep per year. Stan has been in the sheep industry since high school and has recently spent time investigating how wool can be used in mulch and potting soils as a fertilizer and moisture retainer. We also saw an interesting breed of sheep, the Valley's Black-Nosed sheep. These sheep are originally from Switzerland. Stan is planning to breed, raid, and show this unique and beautiful breed.
After visiting Poe Hampshires, we stopped by an antique tractor and wagon museum on our way back to the hotel. Members got to learn about the different tractors and wagons that they had at the museum and how it came apart. They also got to participate in a scavenger hunt where they got to learn about how this machinery has evolved over time and contributed to the agriculture industry.
Our chapter is always thankful for this opportunity, and all of our members benefit from attending the National Convention. Our attendees always bring back new ideas that they hear from the keynote speakers, from other workshops that they attend, and they bring it back to our chapter to give us new ideas. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you, Mrs. Amelon.
Thank you.
I saw you, you were looking down.
I was also like, are we going to acknowledge that that's
I
your
thought
daughter at any
that- oh, I
point?
caught
But
that.
like,
Present.
okay. I know, I was like, Nick. Okay. Yeah, you're next. Good job. Clear Creek Elementary Principal, another Mrs. Amelon is here
Right,
to talk to us.
That's a
Thank
hard
you.
act to follow. They
I
did
know.
amazing. So, I have a lot of information to share tonight, but I'm going to try to go through pretty quickly because I know you guys have a lot of topics to cover. So I just want to start by saying thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share all the amazing things that are happening at CCE and all the incredible things that our students and staff are doing as they continue to learn. So to give you a little bit of history, CCE has, as of today, 247 students, and that's pre-K through fourth grade. We have 14 sections, which covers an AM preschool and a PM preschool. We have 28 certified staff and 20 classified staff. And I do also want to say that, or share, that CCE is probably one of my favorite places to be. And the students and staff, they really do embody that small town feel in a growing district. They really do make school feel like home, and everyone there feel like family. So we're not going to go too in deep that because I was start crying, but it is one of my favorite places to be. So, all right. So today I'm going to kind of go very quickly through our goals and our focus this year. And it's kind of broken down into 3 areas. We have our academics, we have our behavior focus, and then the culture of the building. This really does allow us to look at the whole child as we dive deeper into continuing to grow our students. So to help with each of these areas, we have a committee or designated team for each area. So our academics focus is our BLT. It's a building leadership team. We take time twice a month to dive deeper into what's going well, where we need improvements, work on our goals in those areas. For for behavior, we have a PBIS team. And then for our culture, we do have a family and community engagement team. This is our second year with that committee, and it is going very, very well. And I'll share a lot of the things that we have been doing that have been very beneficial for our students, staff, families, and community. The things that I'm going to go over today are what each of the committees went over this summer during a retreat. We used some of our CQ funds to spend anywhere from 4 to 8 hours, depending on the team, to look at historical data, to talk about upcoming goals, talk about how we're going to implement those. Our staff really likes having that uninterrupted time in the summer. So when you have those fresh minds, we can look at where we ended the year, where we're going to go, kind of make those connections. And it's not, we have 30 minutes and then we'll circle back in a week. It's that really long time together and make those plans. So that has been something that this past summer was our second year doing. It's been very impactful. So before I dive into academics, we do have a couple celebrations I do want to hit on. Our ISASP results last year were phenomenal. So if you look, CCE is in the light blue and the green is the state. And as you can see, both our third grade and our fourth grade, we scored above the state average. So we were very excited. This was a huge celebration at the end of the year and the beginning of the year as well. So very proud of the students and the staff for this. We also, as Mr. Davidson had shared last month, was that on the state report card, CCE was scored as a high-performing school. This, again, was just very exciting for our students and staff, and something that we definitely celebrated as a whole. All right, so now to our goal. So when we dug into data this summer, we noticed that one of the areas that we were scoring lowest in, and not scary low, but lower than we feel comfortable, was reading. So we knew that our focus this year, we really wanted to circle back to some of that science of reading and continue to increase some of our instruction there. It also pairs really nicely with writing, which was our goal last year. So we knew that we can kind of continue some of that work around the writing and then add in that reading as well. This also fits really well with our third and fourth grade curriculum, bookworms, that was new last year. And then knowing that we do have some hopes and goals of changing our K2 curriculum or pieces of it. A lot of our staff have been trained on the science of reading, but it might have been like 3 or 4 years ago. And crazy enough, research continues to change. So a lot of what they learned 3 or 4 years ago has already changed. So it was really nice to circle back and refresh some things. Oops. Double click in. Okay, so kind of 3 things I want to highlight that our BLT is really focused in on, and we've implemented as a building is some professional development on the science of reading. So a lot of our teachers have taken the letters training through the state, which has been amazing, but we want to continue to build off that. So we're revisiting the reading rope. We actually partnered with Amana's staff, and they came over and we did some science of reading PD together, which was great. It was Taylor Swift theme, and I'm pretty sure our last slide was Brad as the Chiefs football player. I can't think of his name. There you go. Thank you. And Brad was not thrilled. You have to circle back with him. He was not thrilled that his face was on there, being a Packers fan that he is. So, but it has been really great to dive deeper into some learning. The past couple of weeks, we've really looked at background knowledge, vocabulary, some of those comprehension pieces of reading, and it's been amazing. So we also have, as the CCE teacher shared, we do have an action-based learning lab that Tarina Toy has kicked off this year, and it is fabulous. And it really shows that research between the brain and the body and that link to the overall cognitive development. So there are like 12 core foundation skills, and it shows a lot about when you're rolling, kind of like that cross hemispheres. So when you're learning and doing some of these actions, it actually helps you retain that information. So we have purposely made sure in our master schedule that we have teachers that can take students down to the ABL lab throughout the day, as well as we have a checkout system for classes if they want to take all their students at once. Knowing that there's 12 stations, you could take a whole class and they could do partner work throughout it. So it's been very impactful. Students are loving it. Staff is loving it. It's a really great tool. We have hopes right now. We have a K2 learning lab. We have already hopes to do a 3-4 in another part of the building. We also have as I've shared, half of our teachers got trained in SRSD, which is a approach to writing last year. And so we were finishing up the other half this semester. December 2nd is our last training. And so then at that point, all of our core teachers, interventionists and special ed teachers will be trained, and ESL teacher will be trained on SRSD, which we obviously know writing supports reading. So we're very excited about that. Then for behavior, when our behavior team dug deeper into the data this summer, what we saw was sometimes throughout the year, we noticed that there's a drop in actually submitting the data. So what we talked about was that we want to make sure that we have those high expectations to make sure that we're submitting the data so we can use that data then to drive our decisions. So one of the first things we wanted to do was make sure that our staff got some refreshers on PBIS and making sure that they are documenting accurately and completely. So how we did that was our team talked about 10 different topics. So one of them was like onboarding staff and substitutes, because we identified that that's a major issue is when we have our new teachers or we have substitutes in the building, some things might not get documented. So how can we help them get up to speed without overwhelming them? So we have now a CCE PBIS starter pack that our teachers shared as well as went over with our new teachers. And then what we use that information and we can see that there's an increase in our data that helps us drive some of our instruction or where we need to provide additional support. So it's been very, it's going over very well that they are continuing to implement with fidelity. We also are trying to refresh our PBIS whole school celebrations. So the first one we did was a fall festival. And this was really, we did different stations and we're trying to make it more exciting for kids. We also are really wanting to bring experiences to kids that they might not have the opportunity to. So you can see this little boy had a corn pit. He was playing in a corn pit. So many of our students didn't realize that the corn kernels come from a corn cob that come from the field. So this was a great learning opportunity that even though we live in Iowa, several kids didn't know that. So again, kind of then relates to the background knowledge that we're teaching and reading. Crazy. And so it all ties together and it's been very exciting. And the kids are very motivated by new celebrations. This is the committee that I'm most excited to share about because this was relatively new last year. We kind of started slow, but we have taken off and it has been absolutely amazing. So we have a committee that's small but mighty, but their goal is to increase opportunities that we have our community involved with us and our families involved with us. So as you can see, we have a deputy reading to a classroom. The other photo is our librarian took our students through the trail in Oxford that reads a book that they can change. So she did this right before summer, so that way kids over the summer can go and do that. So again, just using different parts of Oxford that we want to highlight. So this year we had an academic night, and we had great feedback from this. So the way that I was taught school is a lot different than how we teach school now. So a lot of our parents are teaching multiplication, not how we're actually teaching it in the classroom. So we wanted them to come sit in the seats of students and let's talk about what does math lesson actually look like? What does phonics actually look like? And we had them go through lessons, and it was very impactful. The parents really appreciated feeling what their kid feels, and this all makes more sense now. We had lots of parents walk away saying, I've been teaching them all wrong at home. This is really good to know. And then again, just some resources that they could have. So we did this in September, so that way parents knew at the beginning of the year, as well as they kind of had a bigger idea before going into PLPs. Our family and community engagement team also, this is our second year doing an emergency vehicle extravaganza. We do this the week before Safety Week. So again, to help build some of that background knowledge for students, as well as build a positive relationship with some of our first responders. It's important that we bring law enforcement in the building for not just emergencies, but for other opportunities as well. So we had air care this year, and that was amazing. Students got to sit in the helicopter, ask all the questions. It was great. We had Oxford Fire and Emergency Vehicle. They talked through different equipment and allowed the students to go through the fire truck. We had a Johnson County deputy. He talks a lot about, when to call 911, when not to, and all those pieces. And then this year, which was new, which was my favorite, was the Johnson County dive team. And they talked about water rescue things. We had quite a few questions from students around sharks, and they reassured them that, we don't have too many sharks, so that they're safe when they're diving. We have our beloved fall walk that happens on October 31st. This is a huge tradition for a lot of families that have older students or have gone through CCE themselves. This is one that is very beloved and very appreciated that we continue. So we just did this one recently, and it's a great way for our community members to get involved that might not have children themselves, but they can still come and be a part of it. We just had our Veterans Day last Tuesday, and this one, again, we tried last year and we had great success with it. We do a flag raising and a flag folding with the members of the American Legion in Oxford. And this year they came and did a Q&A with the students too. And it was very cute. The kids were like, how many adults are in the Army? And they're like, oh, I don't know that. They asked, we had to tell them kind of what questions to ask, but it was really amazing to see some of our veterans come, and we got to share their appreciation. We also visited the Oxford Veterans Memorial in town. So again, highlighting some of the things that are already in Oxford. We did some class readings, and then the students did a wall of honor this year with each of the branches, and then we added names from that were submitted. So it's a great way to recognize our veterans, as well as get people involved and use, again, things that are in our community. And then the last one that I want to go over is our career day. We did this last year. It was new, or everything I guess was new, but this one was a big undertaking, but we had the biggest smiles from all of our students and family. We had 8 or 10 different careers, and students got to choose which careers they wanted to go to. We then created color-coded name tags, and they got to choose where they went. We had family members, we had community members, we had spouses of people. It was a really nice way to, although you might not like what you're currently learning in second grade science, that we have a meteorologist coming, and it was a really nice way to get students excited about things. The only other thing I want to highlight this year is that we just kicked off a student council. We had 2 questions that we sent home with students to practice ahead of time, and we didn't know how many applicants we'd had. We had a amazing 87 students try out on student council, so it's very hard to narrow it down. We have 1 member from each class, and they will be meeting about once every 3 weeks with Ms. Stevens and our librarian associate as well. And just to make sure that their voices are being heard, they already have some plans for some fundraisers. It's a very exciting new opportunity for students. All right, tried to go as quick as I could. So, but I do just want to thank you guys again for giving us the opportunity to share all the amazing things. Any questions?
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Great work. All right, and then we'll have Maury do a building and grounds department presentation for us tonight. Hiding from us?
He's coming.
Maury.
He's wishing he would have went first.
I know. You have cute pictures too?
Kaylee needs to come back and put hers back up there. Unfortunately, no. But for those of you who do not know me, I'm Maury Gallagher. I'm the Buildings and Grounds Director for the district. I've been with the district. I'm on my 17th year, and I'm going to provide you with a brief update here on how our department functions, who we are, what we do, what we believe in, and some of the things that we're aiming towards. So our mission statement that we have within our department is essentially to provide a safe, clean, comfortable, and inviting environment to our students, staff, and members of the community. It's pretty cut and dry. I mean, that's what we're here for. Our facilities at a glance, we have 9 attendance centers. We have the high school, middle school, both in Tiffin. We have Amana Elementary. We have Clear Creek Elementary here in Oxford. We have Tiffin Elementary and Oak Hill Elementary in Tiffin. North Bend Elementary in North Liberty, and East Ridge Elementary in Coralville, and the Clipper Early Childhood Academy in Tiffin. We have 2 office buildings, the central office where we're at, and our Buildings and Grounds office, which is down on the south end of Oxford. We also have a transportation center and 3 auxiliary buildings in Tiffin. We have 2 farms, one of which is right across the road, which is approximately 100 acres, and one in Tiffin, which is about just shy of 22 acres, and that also has 4 outbuildings located there. The Buildings and Grounds team maintains over 820,000 square feet of building space that sits on over 200 acres of regularly maintained ground. So that 200 acres doesn't include the farm over here, and it doesn't include the farm in Tiffin. So those are the grounds that we maintain. So that would include parking lots as well. Our team is made up of 31 full-time custodians. We have 6 at the high school, 4 at the middle school, 2 at Amana, 3 at Clear Creek Elementary, 4 at East Ridge Elementary, 3 at North Bend, 3 at Oak Hill, 3 at Tiffin, 1 for our auxiliary buildings in Tiffin, and we have 2 district floaters, and they would just be located wherever they need to, given any particular day where they have to fill in. Along with our custodial team, we have our grounds team, which is made up of 5 full-time groundskeepers. We have 2 seasonal groundskeepers and 2 summer-only groundskeepers. And then we have myself as our department lead, our district grounds manager, our maintenance and custodial manager, and our administrative assistant. So we have 40 full-time employees. With the possibility of 1 more, we're looking at adding a maintenance person. We did have a part-time maintenance person that retired, and we're looking at bringing on a full-time at some point. That will be a critical position, so we're looking to see how we're going to mold that position and who we're going to aim to get into the district. A little bit how our department is structured. So the Buildings and Grounds Director, myself, I have the Maintenance and Custodial Manager, reports to me, our administrative assistant and our grounds slash fleet manager, and I'll go into that in a little bit. But how we do it, at each site, we have a building engineer. They essentially manage that particular site. All the custodial staff at that site would report to the building engineer, but the building engineer works directly with the building principal to make sure that the day-to-day operations are happening in a safe, conducive manner to carry on teaching and learning. So that way, that takes that burden off our building principals to worry about the facility side of things, and they concentrate on the academic side of things. So that's just how our department functions. There's several future positions in there, and that's just simply to accommodate growth, that we have a spot for them. They haven't been talked about, but we have just in our flow chart, the way things can happen, we can kind of accommodate future positions. So just so for some context, when I started 17 years ago, we had 13 staff members on my team. So that just says a little bit about our growth.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. So some of the equipment that we have on both departments as far as the custodial and grounds, this is just a small snapshot of what we have, but just some examples. Like custodial, we have floor scrubbers, carpet extractors, tie-back cleaning machines, which are predominantly restroom cleaning machines, coarse vacuums, and a whole slew of other equipment that goes into there. Grounds, these are the higher ticket items, so to speak, because they're the larger piece of equipment. Skid loaders, trailers, we have seeders, turf mowers, forklifts, UTVs, on and on. End loader, for example, is almost $100,000 piece of equipment. So that's just a small list. One of the other items that we do have to monitor closely and have a good plan for is we have 14 trucks and one van in our department alone. And that's where our grounds manager comes into play. That's another responsibility that he has. He watches over our fleet, makes sure they're maintained properly, and makes sure that he is looking at just a plan for trading out equipment and having a plan in place for that and budgeting. Okay. Some of our past projects that, at least that I've been involved in, the new high school building was my first project, commissioning that when I got hired. And then we had the Performing Arts Center, which was going into the following year. North Bell Elementary Edition, Tiffin Elementary, Middle School Edition, Oak Hill Elementary, and East Ridge Elementary. All of those I just mentioned, I've been involved with from start to finish. Current projects, we have the baseball and softball complex going on. Our high school and middle school editions, we're in the design phase for those. So I consider those a current project. And then all others as requested, that is just ongoing. We have projects that we might not have been able to get to over the summer that we're still continuing to and trying to wrap up as best we can. Small snapshot of future projects. Just a high school and track surface, that is the top wear layer of the track, will need replaced. We have roof upgrades at CCE, HVAC upgrades as identified. Some of the major ones would be at CCA again, possibly at Amana, and we have some at the middle school. Those are all in the works as far as prioritization goes. The middle school and soccer field, we have a regrade item that we're looking at there. So potential hurdles. This is as much of the graphics as you're going to get from me. So staffing, and it's not, every department has to deal with staffing issues, and it's just a matter of finding coverage and having people to fulfill the needs that we have to do for the district. So it can be challenging at times. Supply chain shortages, that is especially apparent in major construction projects, trying to stay on time and keep things moving. but it's something we have to deal with, and you have to be able to roll with things changing. Budget. That's something we've all talked about, is the budget. Our PEPL and SAVE budgets are primarily where my department works out of. With our current high school and middle school, those are coming out of our voted bond. But we always have to be knowledgeable of our budget, and you have to be able to prioritize things and be able to know which things are high on the list, what things can move out down the time frame a little bit. And then the last one is just simply time. We have essentially 2 months over the summer to undo 10 months worth of abuse on the buildings. We just can't get it all done over in that time frame. So again, we have to prioritize our needs. We have to just make sure that we can manage those things accordingly. Some of our department goals, staff development and retention. And one of the items would be a career path implementation. I know our food service department was able to do something here this year. So we have, well, the model that I know they used was something that we've been working on with our department for a number of years. We haven't implemented it yet because there's a lot of moving parts. We still have to have more discussion on that and just get that streamlined. That is something that we're just actively exploring. Then also providing a consistent training protocol. We have our safety training, we have our procedures, we do all, but it's just molding it all to where essentially you could have a handbook that you just give to employees and they will have the same consistent training throughout. Next one is project timeliness, timelines and budget. We want to start projects, complete projects on time and within budget. That's always been a goal of ours, as long as they are things that we can control. There are some things that are out of our control, but if there's things that we have control over, that is our big goal of ours, is to make sure that we're not hindering starting, completing, and staying within budget. Sustainability, looking at potential just solar energy solutions, just having some studies done right now just to see what our options might be. Then we want to continue with our tree planting in areas of need and also adding native prairie plantings in highly erodible areas. We've already done a lot of those things. We just want to continue that. And I think it's very valuable to increase those things around the district. And then we also want to maintain our emphasis on recycling and energy conservation measures, because those things ultimately, any energy conservation directly affects the general fund. So there's a picture. Any questions for me? All right. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Great presentation. Okay. We'll move into reports. And I guess I want to make sure is everyone on Simply okay? Should have asked earlier. Okay, great. Because there'll be lots of attachments. Bill Kale does a great job pulling them up. It's nice to see it in front of you. And for reports, the first one is a student representative report. Our student rep, Gretchen, is unable to be here tonight due to schedule conflict. So it is updated in Simply, the attachment, which I'll just say some of these things we heard about through other things already, like the FFA National Convention, WAMAC Honor Choir. But if there's any questions about high school activities, we have Mr. Daniel here to answer those. Any questions? Do you want to say, apparently Charlotte's Web brought the second grade Amana Elementary class to tears. So I heard that it was a very good production.
That's good.
Yeah.
We had a lot of them there too. We were at capacity, maybe
over capacity.
A couple people over.
Yeah. It was like later in the day, I was driving somewhere and my son was like, Mom, I almost cried during it, out of nowhere. So he was like still thinking about it. So I thought that was really neat that like they could impact even young minds with that acting. So lots of great things happening at the high school. Maury was just up here. We have building projects update. Sorry, Maury. Maybe there's no questions from anybody, but do you want to speak to any of the updates, Maury? I should have thought to just have you say here at the front.
Mainly it's just if there's any questions on that, as far as I can go through them, or if everybody's good with just reading what you have, I'll be happy to answer some questions. We do have some more concrete work that's been done at the baseball softball complex, so they're progressing along relatively good right now. We're just monitoring the weather, obviously, as things will change. So yeah, I can field questions on any of these items. The playgrounds, other than some punch list items, they're usable, and we're just working through some of those things, but we'll be closing those out hopefully soon. So, and part of East Ridge, obviously, you approved the change orders to continue on getting closer to the final closeout for that project. So, any questions on any of it?
Design meetings are going well for the additions.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, they're going well. Lots of them.
Yeah.
But they're going well.
I'm sure you're busy.
Yeah.
Anyone else have questions for Maury?
Appreciate you putting it together.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
I don't think you'll come up for a little bit at least. Hopefully again. Sorry, Maury. All right, I'll turn over to you, Mr. Davidson, for superintendent report.
Yeah, you bet. So again, just welcome to our 3 new board members, Braden, Rick, Casey. I'm excited to get to know you better, to work closely with you, and to help the board make the best decisions we can for kids and staff for at least the next 2 years, hopefully the next 4. Our fall sports seasons came to a close. All of our teams competed really well. I think they brought a lot of pride to the district. Highlighted participation in the state tournament for both cross country and volleyball teams. But again, all of our teams competed well, and I think made our district proud throughout the seasons. Another note is, especially for the new board members, I'm not sure you're aware, we started, it was something I kind of continued from my predecessor, but the superintendent roundtable meetings, I'm planning on pausing them for the time being until further notice due to low attendance. But in its place, it's important that you can never communicate enough. That's really important for me to emphasize. In its place, I'm going to be hosting, it sounds kind of corny, but I want something catchy, Donuts with Davidson. Each month in the attendance centers, I was going to have the superintendent roundtable meetings. So this is going to be focused on staff, of course, where the community forums were staff and community members. So the first one will take place next Monday at the high school in Mr. Daniels' building from 7 to 7:45. It's an opportunity for staff to be able to just connect with me. Maybe it's just come in, say hello, grab a donut, but it gives them an opportunity to bend my ear, to talk about things that we're doing right, things we need to improve or build upon. So I'm excited about that, and we'll have one each month. We have had 2 superintendent roundtable meetings. That was the first one was in Amana, and then we've had a second one in East Ridge. I'm going to come back to those buildings in the spring to provide donuts for the staff, so they don't feel like they've missed out.
Question. I do like donuts, but that's not why I'm asking. Especially being new on the board, would that be something that a board member could or should attend?
I would love for the board. I think my stance is a little bit different, but I think anytime I would invite any board member at any time to come to those type of events. I think it'd be great.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. I'm very happy about the direction of our facilities master planning committee. We have a meeting coming up here again soon. We've got into all of our buildings. The last one to get into is this building, so we're going to host the meeting here instead of the high school. We're going to be planning our top 25, kind of to go through that. There's going to be a financial piece. The committee is locked in, so I'm really excited about what they're going to bring to you as a proposal. Again, they're just coming to you with ideas, but to the board in June. I'm really excited about our path as we're just getting going. We've entered into a 5-year partnership with Shields All Sports. In essence, we're going to receive $25,000 from Shields over the next 5 years. It's broken into $5,000 a year, with $2,500 of that being a Shields gift card that will go to our athletic activities director, Mr. Umfold. He will oversee that. That will go to purchasing equipment needs for our teams during those seasons. And then we'll also get a $2,500 check to our athletic department each year. So win-win, shows we're open to collaborating. We're excited about that partnership for sure. And I'm really excited just to start executive committee meetings with board members in January. Part of the feedback I've received is you can just never communicate enough. And so it's really important in a time where we have 50 board members. I want to make sure everyone on the board table has all the information. So when you're out in the community, you can answer questions and not feel like something was a surprise. That's important to me. So they'll be held from 5:15 to 6 the night of a board meeting, and in attendance would be myself, and then our board president or vice president, and then 2 board members, and we'll rotate that through. So what that will kind of look like, we'll have a conversation around, of course, the upcoming board meeting, in case you have any questions, some big rocks I'm dealing with potentially, some questions, concerns, just a general conversation so we can build a relationship amongst each other, I think is really important. So I'm excited about starting that once we get to January.
Any questions for Mr. Davidson? Okay. Laura, you're up for the finance report.
So in your packet, you have a little chart that looks kind of like this, and Kelly also has it projected up on the screen. This is kind of a very high-level basic overview of the funds that the district is responsible for, ultimately you as the board. It'll be a review for some of you veteran members, and again, just the tip of the iceberg for those of you who are new. So the district is responsible for 13 different funds. Each one of them has a different source of revenue and also allowable expenditures. So at the top side of the colored circles is the sources of revenue and how that's generated for each of the funds. And then the black descriptions underneath are the allowable expenditures for each of those types of funds. The general fund is the big one. That's what we call our people fund. That's what we pay salaries and benefits out of. And the one that you'll probably hear the most about. The public library levy, our fund, is the one that we collect tax money from the Amana colonies, as they are not an incorporated city. And so the district is responsible for collecting those funds for them. And it's the only one in the state of Iowa, so we can feel really proud and unique about that. Anyway, the rest of them all have their descriptions there. I won't take a lot of time. You're all very intelligent people. You can read the charts. And if at any point in time you have any questions or anything you need for clarity, please reach out and let me know. You'll learn much more about school finance as you get further into your work on the board. If you're attending the board convention and the Ready, Set, Govern that's scheduled for January, there's a multitude of items that you'll learn about. So let me know if you have questions.
Thank you.
Just gonna add that this form right here for new board members and even old board members, this is our kind of the Bible. Like when people talk about district has money, this is where we go by. There are some monies that you can spend in certain things and you can't spend on other things. This would tell you where the money, where you can spend, what do you have on that bucket, and how where you can spend it for whatever activity you're trying to come up with finance plan. So print it, remember it, and yeah.
Wait, I don't see that form. And you didn't either, did you?
I don't think so.
In your packet?
In your packet, if you go to assembly,
under finance.
on the.
Maybe not.
When you said packet, we were looking for paper packet.
Oh, like
You
the
meant-
other.
you meant-
Sorry, in your board packet on the
Board
computer.
packet.
So we were both,
It
we
is
were looking.
also, yeah, it is in there as well.
I
Sorry,
actually-
No,
I
that,
wasn't
we were both same page, like, where's the piece of paper? Right?
I would say
Yeah, I
if
was.
you pull it up on Assembly now, I saved it to my desktop on my laptop because
Yeah.
I reference it so often
Okay.
when we're talking about funds.
Oh, I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, so yes, it's in there. The other thing, Lori, I think we have all these funds, but I think you always make a great point of saying we are a people business. Like around 80% of funds goes towards paying for salaries and benefits too. So I think that's important to remember when you look at all those different funds that a lot of it is for in the save and paying for our staff and benefits. Any other questions or discussion right now? You'll have questions later, and that's okay. Board report. I haven't, so this is a section where if you're on a committee, which we will do probably at another meeting, but if you're going to different events in the community as a board member, you can use this time to report back on things. I have not been to anything recently as a board member. Anybody else? That was Gabe, Nick, or Abdurrahman?
Yeah, I went to the foundation meeting. They just had the dine out event.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that brought in or how it went. And then they were kind of prepping and looking forward to, and feel free to speak if I'm missing anything. The staff appreciation, what is the specific name of that?
Staff charitable giving campaign.
Yeah, that's coming up December, I think they were starting that.
The email goes out soon.
I think tomorrow.
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say I did an event, not officially a board event. I was proud to have participated in an event in Cedar Rapids, Junior Achievement, and for the first time in so many years, I had CCA kids go through all the freshmen. So Mr. McCumber and a few staffs there. Pretty much all the varied industries in Cedar Rapids area set up a convention-like floor at the Alliant Powerhouse, and students came in from all districts around Eastern Iowa and went through and talked to specific stations on what they do, and we got to, as a representative from my employer, showcase what we do, and just showcase ourselves to students and give them ideas on what to study and what to do. So I don't know, you got what, 200 and some?
We were
all the freshmen. Yep. So that was really cool.
Yeah, the kids loved it.
Yeah. But
A lot of good positive feedback on it.
yep. Hopefully we keep doing that again. So.
Great. I'll kind of in board report, and this will help us segue into our action items. I did want to briefly go over some potential meeting changes that are going to be coming up, just like dates and times. Nothing drastic, I don't think. But for our newer board members, over the last few months, we have noticed that being a board member takes a lot of time, and that perhaps there are ways that we could be more efficient with our use of our time. And so one of the things we've tasked Mr. Davidson with is kind of thinking about which meetings we have, which meetings are necessary, how can we structure this for us as volunteers serving the district so that we're having our time being used efficiently. And so in board leadership meetings, this has come up as well. So first I thought it might be helpful to go through some of these meetings for referencing, like what is board leadership meeting? So president and vice president meet once every other week now. It was weekly when Mr. Davidson first started, but it's every other week now with Lori and Aaron to just discuss planning the agenda for upcoming meetings, whether additional special meetings are needed, and kind of maybe hot topics that might be coming up to give feedback. And then after that meeting, I sent an email to the rest of the team so that you're updated on what was discussed at board leadership meeting. So that's one meeting that we have. Typically, we have operated having a work session on the first Wednesday of the month and then a board meeting on the third Wednesday of the month. But things have been working really smoothly where work sessions have been a lot shorter. And so we've been thinking about whether there's ways to restructure and add an executive meeting instead, to have a more informal meeting to kind of kick around ideas instead of having to have everyone sit down at this formal work session. And then I also wanted to note that there had been a practice with a while in the past of individual meetings between board member and superintendent. And while we are definitely not opposed to you having conversations or such, we're not going to have monthly individual meetings because it got very confusing when people were getting different information at different times throughout the month. And so that is one of the reasons we also are thinking about the exec committee instead, as you have a smaller group together. There's a whole list of other meetings that everyone's welcome to attend that I think at some point we can send out to you guys, but those were the big ones that involve board members and being involved. Any questions about those?
Just a comment. For the newer board member, I know Rick might probably know. So the work session is to discuss the items in details, and then the regular board meeting is when we vote on actions on that item. So the executive meeting would somewhat be like an informal work session where you would ask the probing question and get all the information that you need. So when the item comes up for regular voting, all the questions have been answered. hopefully we get a good summary that represents, that backs the recommendation of the action that's being recommended, and then we go with that. So
Yeah, I might have to like stagger it a little bit so that it's not the same, but night that we're doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the topics at least. But questions and from our current board members. Yeah.
So then removing work session meetings, which are public, is that okay, governance wise? I mean, is
Yeah, they're not required by state law. We'd still be discussing all those items in the meeting. Yeah. So like governance and like legally it is okay. If we do that or not is going to be something that we're going to decide, like what the model would look like will be kind of action item A for Aaron to talk about what he was thinking might work well to trial, what that timeline would look like, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Right.
Should we move into it?
And these are ideas. I mean, if it's open for discussion, if that doesn't work out, I guess we can.
Yeah, it's all this. Now's the time, since we were like, it's our organizational meeting, we thought now's the time to discuss it as a group. Yeah.
Yeah, I get both sides of it. There was many work sessions where we were done in like half hour, 40 minutes. And I know Sean was a big advocate for consolidating that stuff, but I also see your point too. Like, we don't want to appear that we're like doing something behind a curtain or something like that. So.
Yes, we all value transparency. So we want to make sure it stays a transparent process. To talk about it a little more and hear about Aaron's plan, let's move into action items. I just wanted to kind of give a background. But so we'll move into action items. So I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for determining dates, times, and places for regular meetings of the board.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, so we'll now discuss it, and then what we vote on will be our final decision once we've discussed it.
Sounds great. So I guess my recommendation, and the day of the week doesn't really matter to me. I'm here, so whatever would work best for you. My recommendation would be to keep the board meetings on the third Wednesday of each month the way they've been. So that would stay unless there's a different night. It would be to hold the date of work sessions on the first Wednesday of each month, but really take a look. Like I think from being here since July 1st, this is the fourth board I've worked with. The first is a superintendent. I think there's a lot of different ways a board can operate. Each community is a little bit different. Expectations are a little bit different. I do think from being here, though, one of the things I've tried to, now that I've been here, is to try to limit the amount of time. I think as a board member, you have to commit. You have invested in time. So, and I think that's, you guys acknowledge that. But anytime we can take something off of your plate that I think can be done differently, I think it's important we can look at it and talk through what that would potentially look like. I foresee the work sessions. My proposal would be we would have that as needed. It would be communicated in a timely fashion, so you'd be able to plan accordingly. You'd already have the date held. That's what I would ask. But it would be the big rocks. So like if big items came up that needed discussion before board meetings, we would have those work sessions then. They would be meaningful. I still think they could be done at an hour. I think like if we would do a 5 to 6 throughout the year as needed for those work sessions, that would be enough. I think in experience with our work sessions here, that seems like for the majority of the time would be sufficient. That communication piece, so clear as kind. You're going to hear me say that a lot, especially new board members. It is going to be important that we can funnel information from our board leadership, so you have that information. We would plan board leadership like the week prior to board meetings, so it'd be preparation and planning. That is funneled out to all of the board members. My Friday updates, which is going to be new to the 3 board members, my Friday updates to the existing board members would look a little bit different. I think to get the information that would typically be in the work sessions, I would funnel that information to you through my Friday updates. So you have the knowledge. So if we're proposing anything different, you have enough. If anybody questions things that are happening, you have the background knowledge to be able to speak to it. So there's not going to be any part that hopefully, of course, transparency is really important to not only everyone sitting around this table, but to our community and staff and students that we support. in doing it this way, it would also allow us, as I referenced, to start executive committee meetings. I think it's really important we can stay calibrated as a board. One of the things I think when we have new board members is taking a look at how how the board has functioned since I started July 1st and ways we can improve upon that. And that's building a relationship with everyone around the table. That's really important, I think, so we can operate at a high level. I do think it was important to kind of ease into it, though, and so we can take some time. To December 11th right now, we currently have it as like a work session prior to. We've never done that since I've been here. And my suggestion would start like January 1st, where we would just have the board meeting in January. We would not have a work session. At least I'm not anticipating one. And that's where that new process would start. So that's just feedback I've got from the board up to this date. From what I've seen, how we've operated, I think we could function highly effectively in that. But again, it's your decision as the board to make. So.
To kind of add on to that too, so any board member can bring up any subject at any time. It's not what the board leadership talks about that's going to be discussed at the regular meeting. If you have a subject or an issue that you've heard in the community and you want to bring it up, you can start that. You can add that to the agenda to be discussed later too. I guess my question would be: would the executive committee meeting be a public notice? Kind of listed in simply with an agenda, or just kind of okay?
It's not a quorum.
All right.
One additional thing I thought of, Abdurrahman, when you were asking is, so the difference in our board meetings is, of course, when if we would move to monthly, we would want in an open forum to talk about the planning of our next board meeting, if that makes sense. So we'd have an agenda item where we would bring up those topics. Again, that's that clarity and transparency piece. So community members would be able to hear that potentially and be able to ask questions from month to month.
And would the board meeting also then, like for board report, would somebody who was at exec meeting talk about what was discussed at exec meeting?
Definitely could.
For
that could be superintendent update. That could be a piece to what I discussed.
I think we should. Yeah.
I was gonna be nice just because it's hard to remember to do emails all the time, like email updates, and so if we're already all here together, it doesn't have to be all the details. If it's like this is we're still considering different options, but at least like what was discussed.
Yeah.
So it's out in the public forum. So just correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is like probably mid-December we'd have a board leadership meeting where we'd already be thinking about January stuff.
Yep.
And then I would send an update of like, we're thinking we don't need a work session. Here are the things that will be discussed at the January meeting. If somebody feels strongly that they would like to discuss that in a work session setting, let me know. And then we would have the work. Like we can kind of all work together on that.
Communication would be the thing we'd have to work through.
Okay, and then exec committee would be before that board meeting.
Yep, 5:15 to 6.
And then the exec could work through some things that they wouldn't even really be ready for a work session anyways. It's newer ideas or things you're working around, but we'd talk about it. And then we'd also then already have an idea, kind of like next board meeting, what are things for sure people want to discuss. Of course, other things get added over the course of a month.
Yep.
But that is the format that we're thinking, or that you're kind of thought
That's
about.
what I'm proposing to the board. It saves the ability for those of you around the table to have a work session when we could handle business in a different way that doesn't cause you to have to spend an hour and a half here. I think we can do that being fully transparent. It just takes us, we'd have to give it a shot. And as a board, you decide if you liked it or not. There's nothing, it doesn't mean we can't go back. Like I said, that's why I think it's important we hold our work session dates to show in good faith that if and when we need those, we will utilize those to be fully transparent with our patrons. So.
And for the new members as well too, on the executive committee, we have a master schedule that we work off of. So every month we know what department is coming to present, and then you can kind of queue your questions for the department head that would be here to present at the time. Kind of give them some time to research your question and come up with a rational answer to your question. So we'll share that information, and it's in your welcome packet as well too. But any questions that you have, feel free to reach out to any of us or Mr. Davidson as well too. So.
Yep.
And where would that put policy committee? Because they've traditionally met right before the meetings.
Yeah, and so that's another thing. Like I'm accustomed. I think that's work I meet with Lori and Sarah. We do that work. in my opinion, I think that's my job. I think it's part of my job is bringing policies to the board that are appropriately vetted. And in this way, again, board leadership, we would bring it there so you would have the policy, you know what I mean? You'd be able to look at them. If there's any questions, we'd be able to have conversations, so they would be thoroughly vetted. But again, I feel like that's one of the things I could take off the plate, because it's never good to be a rubber stamp board, but in policy committee meetings, we had good conversations. We can still have those good conversations facilitated through board leadership, funneled to the rest of the board, really making sure when you get into those, if you have questions around the policy, you reach out and ask questions, and I can provide clarity. So by the time we get to the board meeting, you feel confident that the policies that have been updated, with most of them are ISB primers, which are vetted by attorneys. There's not really a lot that we're going to go against typically, but there may be questions, and so that we would still have the ability for you to have the proposal for those policies, you to vet, ask questions, I provide clarity, and then we'd be able to make decisions.
I'll say, having been on policy the last 3 or 4 months, we've gotten done in 15 minutes with policy committee.
Yeah.
We've moved it to like 5:30, and last week we're like, put it on 5:45, because it is ISB updates, and we can't, you can not take it, but you're more legally at risk. And I do think it would be nice, even for some of those updates, to have it when it comes for approval, to like have more of a discussion as a full board about the policy changes. Yeah. I think we talked about, though, kind of, we might have at times like an odd ad hoc policy committee, like last year, the cell phone policy.
Yep.
We made one before the state was requiring it. That took a lot more time and effort. And I would see us like still having that. Again, we'd schedule as needed, as we have for PEPL committee, when we have, the bigger items coming up. But then that would be something we could take off of, like, every month you have to come half an hour early. There were days we were here at 5 and we were done by 5:20. And I think then we can have some of those discussions around the board table with questions about policy changes, instead of having one person report what the committee discussed and then feeling like maybe you couldn't ask questions. Like it?
Worst case, if we end up not liking it, we can go back and we can decide.
I mean, we might get to June and be like, we had a work session every month anyways because we wanted to, and then we just keep that. Historically, in the summer, we don't. We just have one meeting. December, the only reason why is actually because of scheduling snafus with people, with different conferences and other meetings and the holidays. So it's kind of a trial of like if we do stuff more consolidated. I will say I was biased in saying even if our meetings are longer, I'd rather have one long night here than 2 nights where I'm like still missing my meal at home, but like getting home and not really having time to do things. But that's my opinion because I have young children, so anybody can override that. I do anticipate some of our meetings might be longer than some of our, we've had the school board meetings recently that might get done in like hour, 15 minutes, hour. We might have a little bit longer meetings if we're having a little bit more discussion. Yep. But hopefully it'll all be vetted to you or communicated to you ahead of time as well.
That's really what it's about. Do you want to spend 2 evenings, or would you rather do 1? I'm confident that we can get there by doing it in 1.
Personally, I'd rather have one too. So.
Okay. The goal would still be 2 hours or less. I can tell you that too. I think there could be times where it may go longer than that, but that would be the goal. Just so you guys are aware.
So I guess what I'm hearing for us to vote on would be that we all hold the first Wednesday of the month for work session, and that you'll have plenty, like at least 2 weeks notice if we're not using that, and then the third Wednesday of the month would be for the board meeting, and that before that would be a informal exec meeting.
Policy as needed, ad hoc committee as needed, PEPL as needed as well too.
Yep, we'd flesh that out in board leadership.
Yeah.
Then we need a time for the Wednesday meeting?
And it doesn't have to be Wednesday, so it's a great point.
Pardon me?
We can also discuss if we want it to still be Wednesday. Historically, we've done Wednesday because it's the night that there's not district events typically going on.
Right.
So we've done Wednesday for that reason, but if Wednesday doesn't work well, we're always open to changing. And yes, we usually do 6 to give people who work till 5 time to get here. So 6 o'clock on Wednesdays, does that work for?
If you would want a motion, can I move, are we in that stage
We
yet?
we did motion and second earlier, so
Okay.
any other questions
So
or
now we're
discussion
voting
about that
Okay.
before? Nick, I should be thinking. No? Okay.
Just making sure December would not, so December, we're planning on having a work session prior to, on December 11th.
On the 11th.
Yeah, this would be starting January 1st, 2026.
Whether it's 5 or 5:30, I can't remember what we have.
5:30.
Oh yeah, Nick,
5:30.
I think I announced
It's
the
a
wrong
30-minute work
date
session
for
prior to our December 11th.
But she updated the calendar.
11th.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's off a little bit for that one.
Because the
Lori and I are attending ISFLIC.
on
School
Wednesday,
finance
and we were gonna do the work session, and then we realized we couldn't have any of our bills in on time if we did it the work session date, the third. So. Okay, well.
Go fast.
We'll go fast.
I'd love to say I was going to win anyway, Gabe, but I'm not that confident.
It's fine.
Does December 11th work for people for that one?
I will update the Google Calendar and share it out again for everyone.
Yeah, I know I had announced previously it'd be work session of December, but then, well, Lori had told me and I had forgotten, but we won't have bills in time to approve for December on the 3rd.
The 11th potentially won't work for me.
That's fine.
I have a work event in Chicago
Oh, fun.
just on the 11th, so the 10th should work. So if that was on the table.
I think the 10th you guys are gone, is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So,
Or Des Moines.
We have facilities, master facilities.
oh, that's
meeting.
what it is, 10th is facility.
We're gone the following week.
Following week, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We can move forward with the 11th, and then it's okay. We all miss.
Okay.
I missed in September or something recently, and that's okay. Board meetings are recorded and posted to a YouTube stream. You're gonna be YouTube famous, so you can always watch it if you want. But also, everything will be in Assembly.
Okay.
And if you have, when the agenda is posted and you have question about certain items, you can talk with Aaron or talk to either one of us and submit your questions. Submit your questions ahead of time and we can try to answer it so that you don't feel left out.
Okay.
And you're welcome to, if you're in a hotel room or something, hopefully you're not just in a hotel room, but you're welcome to join virtually as well.
Oh, okay.
We
I was
have,
gonna ask. That.
Yes.
yes, many of us have joined virtually before. Yeah.
And when we're virtual, we're a voting member.
Mm-hmm. Yep, when you're virtual voting member, there's a little lag, so everyone kind of smiles every time you vote, but yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay, so starting January 1st, 2026, first Wednesday of the month held for work sessions. Third Wednesday of the month is the board meeting. It'll be at, both of those are Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item B is to adopt Robert's Rules of Order as operating rules and practices. So I recommend the board adopt the Robert's Rules of Order as operating rules and practices.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, questions or discussion here? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're into some other business now. Item C is to establish the public hearing date for the 26-27 school calendar. I recommend the board establish the public hearing date for the 2026-27 school calendar as December 11th, 2025.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, so for our new board members, we have to have a public hearing for certain things that we do. And so this will be to approve the school calendar on that date. It is attached, the instructional calendar. If anybody has questions, of course, now would be a time to ask Mr. Davidson, not myself, about that.
Did you get any feedback about Election Day? Yeah.
So I've had two conversations. I'm not getting. I have to have a sit down with our Johnson County auditor. I'd like to do that. I've had some email correspondence, and then with one of our Johnson County Board of Supervisors. I've also had a conversation. There's going to be some resistance, some questions. I need to work with Doug Bolt, though, as a city manager to see what, in my email communication, without getting into the specifics, we need to identify a building that would meet the standards of what our Board of Supervisors are looking for to get voting out of our schools. Unless I can prove that there's other spaces, their stance is they know the schools are good places. This conversation is new board members. I'm trying to get it so we can have school on those days. Right now, we don't have school. We have teacher professional development. Just with the new legislation over the past couple of years, any day we need to maximize our calendar whenever we can. We need to have kids in session. Otherwise, it just makes it harder. I guess it makes it harder for us not to go in June. No good learning happens in June, so we really try to minimize that. And so that's the whole premise here. So it's not a no. I'm just gonna have to work really hard to see if I can get it pushed through. So that would be a potential update. If it's board approved, I would be bringing that as an update, but I would be excited about the update. It'd be minimal to the calendar, but it would be a school day.
How many district sites are used as polling places? Just 2 in Tiffin?
So you have the middle school, and then is it North Bend? Yep. Tiffin Elementary, so we have 3?
No,
I knew my 2. I knew my voting site because I went to the middle school.
North Bend is, okay,
Yeah, 3. 2 in Tiffin, so we have 4.
CCA is too.
I knew my voting site, and I knew we had multiple.
So it's not just Tiffin, it'd be Oxford and
Yep.
North Liberty then too.
Oh, Amanda's the only one that does it?
Coralville.
Yeah, Corbin.
East Ridge, probably.
I was prefacing just we would have to get it out of all of our school buildings, and so it's like a one stop. It can't be one or the other. It would be all, of course, for us to have school that day. But I'm working on it, so I'll follow back up.
Any other questions on the calendar? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D is to cast the vote for the AEA 10 Board of Director candidate. So the recommendation is that we do cast a vote for the director for AEA 10 Board of Directors for Carol Montz.
Second.
And I believe there's only Carol Montz on the ballot. So,
Who is?
Yeah, who is she?
Explain
The
this position.
Sure.
And who is she?
Just like we have, great question, Rick. Just like we have a board of directors for school districts, the area education agencies are also state funded, and so there are 9 in the state now. I feel like there used to be more. Did I get that right? Yes, 9. Okay. There are 9 in the state. Ours is Grant Wood. And so since we're in Grant Wood's area, it's much larger than a school district. It's many counties typically. We get to cast a vote for the AEA's board of directors. So it's also a publicly elected official who helps run the AEA. And so that's what we're getting asked to do here.
And she's from where? Our district or not?
No, well, she's from the Grant Wood AEA district.
Okay, that's what I mean.
She's somewhere in Grant Wood.
She's superintendent of Williamsburg?
She was, yeah.
She was previously.
And there's only one candidate at this time? Or,
Yeah.
Okay.
This is her. Yeah.
Well, I move we vote for her.
Yeah. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. Item E is to approve a purchase of a van. The recommendation is to approve the purchase of a van in the amount of $40,362.58 from Buckwalder Motors Ltd.
So moved.
So for our new members, sorry, we keep saying that, but okay.
Oh, that's okay.
S-bars are what we often use. So you'll see it says summary S-bar in the attachment. That's for situation, background, assessment, recommendation. And that's to help us look ahead of time at why this is needed, what the background is. I believe we also have Denny here to answer questions if necessary, but it was a beautiful S-bar. As you can see, we are always on the hunt for large vans that can accommodate the various activities in our district. And Denny included, how much is remaining in this year's PEPL budget and what this cost would be. Any questions or discussion here? Or again, it wouldn't be me, it'd be Denny answering, but. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Up next, item F, approve multi-year agreement with Vivi license. Again, as far in the attachment, this is a technology thing. The recommendation is to approve this multi-year agreement with Vivi license.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or discussion go to Kale this time, I believe.
Right here. Are they not actually projectors then? They're like additional.
They're actually the device we're using
Oh,
to project wirelessly right now.
Awesome.
And physically, they're that blue box you see behind the monitor. So no, they're not devices, not projection devices in their own right.
Okay.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item G is to approve the 25-26 Power School Schoolology contract. The recommendation is to approve the 2025-26 Power School and Schoolology agreement in the amount of $57,972.92.
So moved.
Okay, questions or discussion here? Schoology, Schoolology. Yeah, it's Schoology, isn't it? I added a syllable. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have a different consent item here. So item H, consent items. I recommend the board approve the consent item as presented.
So moved.
Second.
And as you all can see, it's a student teaching agreement with Northwestern College University for a student. Questions or discussion here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we're gonna get into some discussion items. Now I will be handing this over to Mr. Davidson as two topics that have come up recently, either in SIAC committee or as big rocks that he would like to move forward on, but that he is now ready to discuss with the board a bit more.
Yeah, you bet. So the first one is a school resource officer. So I wanted to start conversations with the board to see if there was any interest in exploring if there is a need or a want to have a school resource officer. And this conversation came up with conversations, of course, with Mr. Daniel and Mr. Fox as our middle school principal. I wanted to talk through them, how they felt, what their feelings were about having an SRO in their buildings. Also conversations with Sheriff Kunkel, and making sure that we would have the support from the Sheriff Department to be able to move forward with that. Also, I've had multiple conversations with Doug Bolt, city manager, and he's had communication with his city council, just if you would have any interest in moving forward. Some things it's important for you to know, and I'm sure you have quite a few questions, is in working with Lori's, we would be paying for this utilizing at-risk dollars. So it wouldn't come out, I mean, it's called categorical funds. It's more school finance, kind of 101, but categoricals there's a different pot of funds that's attached to the general fund, but it's not allocated the same as teacher salaries. And so it comes out of a different pot of funds. That's important to note. But at a time when we're looking at not adding FTEs, it's important for you to be able to explain, or for people listening to know that, we're not saying we're not going to hire a teacher, but we're going to think about hiring an SRO. The categorical fund is a little bit different there when we're paying at-risk dollars. It'll also be the city is willing to kick in a portion of the salary we would partake. So we would basically we'd work through a contract, we'd work with legal to build a contract that you would all see and be able to vet. In a perfect world, the way we would like to see it is we would have SRO contracted on 185 days. Of course, we know there's a lot more days than a year. That's where the city has an investment there to be able to kick in financially. We'd be looking at paying 75%. We'd ask the city for a 25%. Lori and I, when we've discussed this, we haven't had a lot of conversation because, again, I wanted to bring it to the board. to see if you have any interest in me pursuing gathering data to bring to you at a December, January board meeting. It doesn't have to happen right away. To see if there's enough interest, I would be happy to bring more data to support why an SRO could be important at the middle school and high school, and then what those expectations would be in supporting our elementary buildings as well. Yeah, so that's kind of where I wanted to start. There's data I can bring, but I didn't want to go down the road because I didn't want to just shove that down their throats right away. I just wanted to give their input to see if there's any interest in me moving forward to be able to collect and bring more data to you. In a perfect world, probably by January, we'd be able to make a decision just so the city can plan accordingly. Because I'm talking with Doug, I think they're budgeted for 2 sheriffs. I think in conversations they'd be, and again, I don't want to speak for anybody. I don't want to speak for the mayor and don't want to speak for Doug, but I think they'd be a lot more comfortable if one of those was an SRO because of needs and where they're at right now.
So they would reduce the number. So they would
They've
only
had
have their
they're
2.
budgeted for 2.
Then this wouldn't be a third.
This would be one of the 2.
It's my understanding is they would, if there was like an emergency in the Tiffin area, they could get pulled.
Yep, that would be
That's
part
why
of
it's shared.
that'd be part of the contract. I'm familiar as a middle school principal in Fort Dodge, and then my role as executive director. As a middle school principal, the middle school had one and the high school had one. Due to budget cuts, they went down to a shared one, and that's kind of what we're proposing is to start with a shared middle school, high school. That person, anytime that school's in session, would have a schedule that would bounce between both buildings. Both building principals would be aware of, when that sheriff or when the law enforcement officer would be in the buildings. But again, that's all contractual stuff. Like we'd be able to have some, say, building leaders, of course, have to be comfortable with it. And I haven't got that far because, again, I just wanted to have a conversation with you to see if there was interest. But yes, there would be very minimal times if an emergency came up, officer could be pulled. That was very few in between. Basically, they would be helping the city of Tiffin on days we didn't have school, the holiday breaks, weekends, evenings, those type of things.
But Tiffin will be dropping from 2 full-time to 1 and a quarter.
This is adding.
That's what
Right, so they're budgeted for 2, but if we decide to partner with them, they'll drop it to 1 and a quarter.
But they currently have 1 only.
Yep.
No, they currently have 2.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
This was
So that's why it's a savings for the city of Tiffin for sure.
Yep.
So, I will say, Aaron had just given me a heads up that he wanted to talk about it tonight in discussion, so that I was aware that we'd be talking here about it because we haven't talked at great length in other meetings about it, and so I did have some questions myself. So I'll share those. I want to be transparent. But before I say what I already had questions about, I want to make sure everyone else gets their questions out or their thoughts.
Well, yeah, I definitely want to hear feedback from Mr. Daniels, Mr. Fox, as well as staff as to positives and negatives for having them, how much time they're going to be spent in the buildings, what their visibility is going to be. I think those are the concerns people are going to.
Yeah.
The public's going to open up and question about.
Yeah.
And yeah, what's the need? What are we missing by not having them right now? Those are things I want to hear.
Okay.
Well, my comment would be previous board membership years ago. I remember being at the state convention, and I remember North Bend having a training, and it's really sad it came to fruition because they told us then it's not if a shooting happens in Iowa, it's when. And we lost the principal in Perry, Iowa, and or superintendent, I don't know. So I would, just top of my head, I would be very much in favor of getting more information. And actually, I could go as far as saying putting an officer in our buildings. Sad to say, but it's reality came true. It's really was scary for me when that happened. that it came true, so.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in hearing it, but to Nick's point, I definitely also want to know the budgetary thing, because if they're already budgeted for 2, and then us paying 75% of that, and them only paying 25, and then they reduce from 2 down to essentially 1.25, that doesn't really add up to us getting the. Seems like we're bailing them out more than.
They're gonna be serving us every day we have school.
Right.
And then outside of that, they would pay that portion.
Is it something that still could be negotiated a little bit, or?
I can't speak for the
kind of
city.
written
I can't
in
speak for the
stone?
city. They said, I think in my conversation, again, I don't want to speak for anybody, but I can bring whatever proposal we want to see. Or they could say it's no.
Oh, sorry. Because when you think about hours in a day, most police are working longer than just a school day. So, and you probably wouldn't think they'd be around for sporting, like, practices. I don't know. Maybe they would be, but
Not that I'm accustomed to, but
Yeah.
again, those are contractual things.
I think I'm all into looking into it, though. I think it's a
Okay.
Yeah, I'm supportive
So-
of getting more information.
Okay, so I will make sure we get some input from especially the admin team at the middle school, high school, staff feedback from both buildings. And then I'll be collecting some data just from around the state and nation just to see the impacts, the positive, negative, that having an SRO like I'm asking us to think about, what that could potentially look like for CCA. So you can make an informed decision. I think the goal would be at the January board meeting. That gives me plenty of time to get it. And again, I'll funnel information to you through board leadership, through Friday updates as I have that information.
So is it for January for action on it, or January for, I guess,
It'd be
January for action on it?
Yep, it'd be for action. I think that would be my recommendation. The board does that way in good faith. If we're going to move forward, it gives the city plan for their budget or what that would actually look like. I think to be a good partner, that would be a goal.
I don't know if that'll be enough time to have action on January 11th, or
January meeting. Yeah. Are we going to do talk about it at the work session in December then?
Well, yeah, I'm going to start the process
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
Of gathering information. That's why I definitely won't be ready for December. Maybe I'm being hopeful, but I'm confident. It's
can
not
we-
going to take us long to get staff feedback and admin
Will we
feedback.
be able to talk about it in December?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Yeah, it will definitely be
Thank you.
an item for discussion.
Okay, then, I retract my statement then. Should be ready to go in January. Thank you.
And so for transparency, I'll just say, because I had emailed Mr. Davidson, but so other board members know, I said I'm not familiar with an SRO really, so I'd like to see what the day-to-day responsibilities of an SRO are and their overall job responsibilities. Like what are the description, but then also like day-to-day, what are they doing? Where will they be? It's primarily middle school and high school. And then I'm a data-driven person. You'll learn this about me if you haven't learned it yet. So I would like to see the data that shows there's improved law enforcement student relations and improved youth outcomes. And so, just wanting to see the data behind where we spend the money. And then I guess we hadn't said it, but one thing that I thought we want to think carefully about is that this would be a fully uniformed officer with a gun on our campuses. So I understand there are school shootings, but I do think also that can impact youth as well, particularly if they've had law enforcement in their life before. Law enforcement can be very helpful, but some may have had experiences where like a parent was involved with law enforcement. It could be hard too. So just thinking through all the lenses, I have good relationship with law enforcement officers, but I don't want to assume that about everyone's experiences. So those were my comments for Mr. Davidson at that time.
And again, it's important. I want the board to know, like, I'm not something I'm pushing. I just think it's an appropriate time to have a conversation around it. And if the answer is no, the answer is no. We're not going to move forward, and that's what we'll do. So,
When you're looking at that data, what I think would be important for you is if they can give you the number of times that they respond there anyway.
Yeah.
Throughout the day.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. How many times do we have law enforcement on campus?
I already have that.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So they're probably there quite a bit anyways.
Yep.
Yeah, for me, I think a couple key points that other have touched on. Again, as Mr. Hager said, it takes something like Perry to change the whole dynamic of a community, and that's very unfortunate, obviously. Not to sound too cliche, but yeah, you don't want an outside threat coming into your school and creating havoc. But at the same time, as Allison mentioned, social-emotional, social-emotional
Safety, reaction?
reaction of students, staff, and the community at large. Definitely getting their feedback and understanding, what's driving, this item. Also, one thing that I think is really important is, knowing our student-to-student relationship and our student-to-teachers, student-to-staff relationship. What can we do to improve that so that we have less of a call in for less of a law enforcement call into our building. At the end of the day, if in a utopian world, everybody gets along, everything goes well. But if you don't have cohesion within your building, that tends to bring out outside influence into the safety issues. So definitely interested in seeing the data within the student body and the staff body, and also the community at large as well too.
I'd be interested to know what other area schools have. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I'll have that for you.
Oh, and an appointment thing. I think I asked maybe email or something, but about like who this person would be. Like, would Mr. Davidson be involved in selecting the individual?
I would want to be part of the hiring process. I wasn't for it. It is really important that it's the right person, because every officer, no offense to any officer, every officer would not be so excited to be in a middle school or high school building.
Yeah.
Not because of any bad. It's just that's so. We would definitely want a school representative part of that. So.
Yeah. I was like, I can think of, like, Gabe, you're in law enforcement. I would put you in the schools. You might not want to be there, but No. But I just I thought of people I know that I'm like, I would love having them in the school with my kid. So.
One of the other point too is being a multi-county school district. If we go Johnson County, what are the ramifications for Iowa County, since we have an attendance center there as well too? So all those would be part of your data package that you present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Sounds good. I will act accordingly.
Just a few things to check on.
Yep. I was
in your free time.
I didn't know. So
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, and then the next exciting item that you have for us about alternative pathways to graduation.
Yeah, so really excited about these two. This process started when I first started. It was my understanding, it was brought to my attention right away, that we have a growing number of open enrolled out students to CCA. That started about 3 years ago. It's kind of a new trend. So really diving into the why. So what I did that month of July is I started making calls to people that had open enrolled out for the past couple of years. Roughly a little under 200 calls or emails that were sent out. There were some big trends of virtual learning, homeschooling, and then just the majority of the students are they move into Tiffin or one of the portions of our school district, but they move in, but they opt to stay in their school district of where they came from, like in Iowa City is the biggest one. It's hard for us to do much about that, but try to continue to grow our district, really sell it. And knowing what I found out, started having conversations with, of course, Tom, and then at the time, Brad Fox from the middle school about the needs, some things that they've seen from leading their buildings. So the conversation started working around what would it look like for a 912 alt ed program. There is an attachment there for you to click on. If you have questions, we can talk through that. I'm not going to go through that specifically. And then the 9th through 12th grade virtual academy. My original proposal was to have that start as a 6th through 12th grade. But Mr. Daniel, his high school team, Rob in particular, I know he's tasked to do a lot of legwork. So the items I presented as artifacts for both the alt ed program and the virtual academy, I'll highlight kind of the difference of both. The team is working through, they've created these documents. That's really important. They've invested a lot of time and energy. They're excited about the potential for the board to allow us to move forward and go from there. The biggest difference between the two, and I think it's important to call out in both. There are 2 additional pathways to graduation to leave CCA with a high school diploma that we currently don't have. It could potentially, I don't have a crystal ball, but it could potentially minimize or take back some of those open enrolled out students that are, we're not calling out a homeschooling program. That's not what this is. But calling those families, I'd be excited to let them know, hey, here's 2 possibilities. It's not homeschooling, but these experiences would look different than going into mainstream school. The difference between alt ed and virtual academy, long story short, is the virtual is 100% virtual, utilizing an E2020 program. I have an idea of a site, but I'd like to talk more about that as we progress between now and the next board meeting. The virtual, and that's for the virtual academy. The alt ed would be a combination of existing high school space and then utilizing West Campus. So we do have space. There's no building. It's maximizing the spaces we already have in the district. And going from there. So I just wanted, with these 2, it kind of leads to the third one, the diploma options. But before we get there, I think it's important to note that we wouldn't need the year 1. We're working really hard, so we wouldn't have to add any additional FTEs. We would restructure. We would have an administrator that would oversee both programs from the high school. We would have a point person from the high school who would oversee both programs, and we would actually have a person at both sites. We would have an adult without adding an FTE. It's just moving people around. Because again, when you think of virtual academy, if you're not familiar with it or you didn't have a chance to really dive into what we have there, a virtual academy means it could mean different things to different families. It could be a family, they have Wi-Fi access at home, mom and dad are okay supervising. A student could potentially do most of their programming from home. One of the expectations we would have, though, just to make sure we were on the up and up, is that students would have to come in to test. So we would need a place for them to come in and do their test, even if it's virtually. We'd also want to do some type of connection with them just to make sure things are good. No different than we would do with our kids who are attending buildings, and that would be virtual connections. Where in the alt ed programming, if you've had a chance to dive in there, again, there would be some E2020. That's the same program we would use for the alt ed. There could be some project-based learning, and it gives, if we utilize West Campus, the ability for kids to come in and utilize some CTE or exploratory classes. Again, Tom and Rob and Ben can probably highlight that a little bit more if you have questions. These 2, I think it would be important for us. If the board is comfortable, I would work with the admin team at the high school and the leadership group they've put together to do a lot of legwork on the 2 documents that we have up there. I'd like to bring kind of a handbook for the board to look at in December. We're pretty close to being there. These are they're working really hard to get there. There's just a couple things we have to tweak. And the reason I think that's important is because we really want to sell these 2 programs when we get to January. We would do a social media campaign to really sell this. It would give me the time in December over break to reach out to these families again to say, hey, we're going to have these programs, because it's important we hit that before we get to that March 1st deadline for open enrollment. That we need to get the information out, otherwise it's not going to do us any good if it's later than that time.
So, I was gonna say. So, what would be? Let's say you get to go ahead on in January, and what would be a good number for you to say this is a viable program for us to invest in, like as far as numbers? You have a targeted number of students that are open enrolling out.
Yep.
Let's say you get 5% of those students in. That would be a good target that you set for the district, or.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I have a specific number in place. Like in conversations I had, if you're talking between 30 and 40 kids open and roll out, it's going to be unrealistic to get all those kids back. But I think if we could shoot for half, along with, I think that's a lofty goal. Again, remembering that we're not adding FTEs for these programs, and if you're adding FTEs, that's a whole different thing. That's why I'm not recommending year 1. In a perfect world, the way I foresee this happening is we would have enough to be able to grow it, make improvements to both programs in year 1, and look at additional ways we could add, whether it's we've tapped in, we feel, to all of our students that are open and rolled out, and potentially, if the board is willing, to be able to open it up for students in other districts to be able to open and enroll in, just do that program. we have to get there first, and we want to maximize and make sure the programs are top notch, work out the kinks, but it could allow us to do that. Most importantly, I think, again, I'm going to come back to, I do think it's 2 additional pathways to graduation that we currently don't have for students who, for a variety of reasons, just don't play school the way we played school. I use that terminology a lot. Or there's a disconnect there for them to be unsuccessful, that they're not successful, and it allows for us to still support them, and most importantly, get them a CCA graduation or a diploma. So that's the way I'm viewing this.
I think the ones that are gone might be really hard to bring back, but let's stop the bleeding. The 30 going out, let's make it 20 next year, or 15, and go that way. I mean, also look at that.
I'm just curious. Go ahead.
That's it.
I'm just curious for the online platform. Is it something the district purchases a platform with the curriculum, or is that like CCA?
So we already have, and the high school team can talk a little bit more about this. I don't know the number of, Cal would know, the number of seats we have or what we've paid for the E2020.
I don't know specifically with E2020, but it's certainly a program that the district has deep familiarity with different points in time.
And that there's different programs you could use. That's what I'm familiar with. We use that same component in the alt ed program in the district I was from. But that's not to be said. There's not other. If we would feel that's kind of how we would maximize it, improve from year 1 to year 2. Really take a look at that and see if that's what's best for kids in that program.
I guess too, I'm not sure if you guys, if this dollar amount is familiar with you, but for every open enrollment out, it's about $8,000 that is lost from the district, which obviously, if you add up, that gets to be quite a bit of money over time with open enrollments out, and then it flows through our district over to other districts, most commonly like Iowa City, because they have virtual learning, others too.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to keep that in the district and also serve our population here instead of having them have to go to a different district. I guess I do have a question. Maybe it doesn't affect this at all, but when we're thinking about some of the hearings we've had, disciplinary hearings, does this at all affect that? Expulsion would still be expulsions from our district point blank, or would it put some leadway to keep people in the district but go to virtual?
So we're not, I think it's kind of a slippery slope. And so that's one of the things we have to flush out. It's really important. So they're not programs where the kids are going to those programs because of discipline. That's not what we're looking for. Yeah. We're looking for programs that we know kids need and working with families. A lot of it I see is really bringing kids in who are not with us. But there's also a credit recovery piece. That's kind of a component of alt ed, which the high school already has. So it's building upon that program. High school admin team, am I misspeaking there, or is there anything you want to add to that?
I don't think so. I think one of the things that I really think about, though, when we talk about alternative education.
Yeah, come up. Sorry, they can't hear you online. Otherwise, I was gonna request it. I'm sure we have so many viewers right now.
Just because my boss told me to. Right?
Yeah.
No. So one of the things I think about when we talk about alternative education isn't just the credit recovery piece, but also some of the extension opportunities that could be out there for kids that maybe we aren't able to offer. We're not able to get through Kirkwood or our other partnerships, and it's just another thing that we can provide to students, not only to help with some of our other class sizes at the high school for the in-person classes, but also just broaden their horizons a little bit. Miss Fry and I have been meeting with some different online platforms to just see what they have to offer compared to what we currently have, and looking at those opportunities and seeing what classes they have, what certifications that they can provide to us, and different pieces like that, just to help kids in any way that we can.
Can you explain if or how this is different than because I think alternative ed and I always think of Tate High School in Iowa City, and this doesn't quite feel like Tate because it's newer maybe, but yeah, would we still have kids that probably would choose to go to Tate over doing our alt ed, or is the goal to keep kids here instead of going to Tate?
Ultimately that would be the goal. However, with Tate, there's certain things that Tate offers and they're great at doing that, we wouldn't necessarily have a program built specifically around. So if, say we had 4 kids a year that went to Tate, if we could keep 2 of those kids instead of having them attend Tate, I would consider that to be a win for us, because instead of losing 4, we lost 2. It's just being able to provide more options, and like I said, they're good at what they do. They're established in that, but I think we can be great at doing this as well. So.
You may want to stay up for this. So that leads right up. Again, Rob has done a lot of work. This isn't. I asked the high school team to bring the explore different diploma options to see if the board has any interest in pursuing. I know you had a chance to take a look, but I am proposing looking at an honors diploma along with the standard diploma, which we have right now, and then having a core diploma, which would fit. The core diploma kind of fits these 2 pathways, in particular the alt ed programming specifically. And if you notice, it really is the elective piece that looks different. Knowing CCA, if you're unaware, is above what the state says you have to have. I think the credits we're saying that they need 56 is a little bit higher than some of even the surrounding high schools. And so, typically when you get to a core diploma, the minimum kind of around the state, what they say is like 44, but the board even could go less than that. The high school team, knowing what they know, I think I like it's that 45 to 55. So it's still a little bit higher, but it is a little bit different. And really what it does is we're honoring students that have went above and beyond. We're honoring students that just are just good having their high school experience and meeting the minimum requirements we have for a diploma, which is fantastic. And then those students who, again, like we're saying, that struggle just to play school the way we played school. And for a variety of reasons, this would offer them, again, a pathway to graduation that I don't feel is watered down. It just looks and feels different, and it gives that student what they need to be successful. So,
now, just historical context, this has been a topic that has come up ad nauseum for the board. The fact that our credits are much higher, especially our electives, but at least the previous board, we felt strongly we didn't want to necessarily change that, but we also recognize that often students move in from other districts, and so they were operating from a different standard, and it's unfair to have them catch up. I think, Mr. Daniel, do you mind me saying that? I believe you said this was true for your own family transferring in. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was a little challenging. My kids had to take some classes. I think they had to complete some like freshman requirements that they hadn't taken in the other districts. So
Yeah, so that helped me realize, like, oh, this isn't just like, it's not even like thinking like, oh, there's kids who play differently. It's like you can play the same way and want to play that, and then like are the standards if you transfer in partway through the year. And that lends itself to then individuals who move here open enrolling out to a district that has less credits if they didn't start in like 9th grade with us. So hoping to also help provide options so that we're not punishing transferring students.
100%. I don't think the core diploma is typically not, it would not be for the student who starts with us in kindergarten. It would be for the student who moved to us somewhere in their educational journey, during high school. That's what it's intended for.
all 3 of these things, I think, address problems that we've discussed numerous times over the last few years. So I think it's.
Again, this would be in effect for the 26, 27. This would not go.
Would it be like on a case-by-case basis, or could students that are doing perfectly fine all of a sudden decide, I'm not going to school anymore? That would be my concern. And there's some parents that might not care if they're 17.
So, I mean, one of the things that we discussed was, number one, you can't declare this until you're a senior. So you're kind of reviewing your educational progress so far and determining, like, is this going to be my best option moving forward? You know, of course, we're going to have those cases where we have those kids who are like, hey, like, I've done what I need to do in high school. I know what I want to do after this. I want to go out and I want to get to work, you know, case by case basis, right? The same thing with the honors diploma. That would be something that, you know, we would have to be intentional about talking with kids about, okay, this is what your educational pathway needs to look like through high school. This is really what your goal is. So that we have those things set out for them ahead of time.
So honors, we start selling it in middle school, core is for somebody who's just moving in, somebody who's just moving in, let's say 10th and 11th, and then standard is still the standard pathway, basically.
Typical.
So standard's kind of the expectation. Core is available almost kind of like through application with this admin at the high school. Because I can also, I don't want to say just moving, because I could imagine a scenario, let's say.
It's not just moving.
Okay.
I'm saying the majority would.
No, I know you weren't, but I thought you said maybe kind of more so. But I just want to make it, since we're recorded.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That like if somebody like something came up and somebody high school student got diagnosed with cancer, right? And like we don't want to make them take all that stuff if they're in and out of treatments. Maybe the core is what will work for what they need to do for their health. For instance, it's like having some flexibility when needed, but standard is kind of the expectation. And then if you want to do an honors, it's kind of again an application like. But you talk about it, here's what you're going to need to do to meet that criteria.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
So I can't just walk in the door as a 11th grader and be like, I'm doing core. I can leave every day after lunch.
Nope,
go
absolutely, and that's a
Chick-fil-A.
big part of it too. Is that like early graduation piece? There's a lot of districts that have something like this in place where it does not allow for early graduation, like especially a year early, and that would be something that we would keep in place as well for sure, because we don't want somebody at the end of their junior year saying, "I got 44 credits, I'm ready to go." You know, that's not what the intended purpose is.
And I'm sure you'll be involving parents in these discussions.
I thought about it. So, I
Put it out
bet
there,
that'll
just
probably be a good
said.
idea.
Yeah.
And I can say I have reached out to the Board of Education, or not the Board of Education, our Department of Education. I did have that conversation earlier today. From the DE side, they want to be notified. So she's already sent me a couple links. I have to fill out a Google Doc. Questions around like what program are you planning on using? E2020. It has to be an accredited program. I haven't even talked with you about this, Rob, but really easy process from the Department of Ed, just so they have an understanding of what we're doing.
I mean, we have a great graduation rate. It was like 93.3% or something like that last year.
Fantastic.
So there's some room, of course, always to move. But I do think these are creative ways to keep our students who are here, instead of open enrollment out, but then having some flexibility to, like you say, accommodate those who may learn differently than we might have in school. Other questions or thoughts on these items before?
Are you comfortable with, are you comfortable with me working with the admin team to pretty much get really close to finalizing handbooks so I can bring those to you in December?
Sounds good.
Okay. Is there any information you would want specific to the potential diploma options?
I think just from my perspective, kind of just laying out the process, like what year, how the student tells somebody they're interested in that option, how parents are involved, just those details.
Sure.
Would be the main thing I would be interested in.
Okay. And I would say if you have any feedback on the requirements themselves, those are still kind of a work in progress. And you know, I could share the thoughts on those at some point if you would like, but open to hearing that as well.
I think it would be important for the high school admin team as we're progressing. Like you heard Rob say, they're looking at other options outside of E2020. I can assure you they're going to be appropriately vetted, but that would be information we bring to the board as we progress through the spring. I don't think that's something to stop because we're not 100% sure of the program. They're all going to be very similar. It's what the programs are offering. And I think I'm definitely comfortable staying up to speed. They do a great job of communicating. I've been involved in quite a few meetings already with the team, and I would make sure the board was well aware of the program itself.
I think with the diploma options, I'd like to hear your predictions or what you would expect that percentage wise of a graduating class would be honors and a graduating class would be standard.
Okay.
And what your expectations of that would be.
Breakdown. And then, sorry, I know you said like early graduation. I know it's completely different, but we do board approve that. But there would not be any board approval in like, oh, these people get honors and these people are getting the core, right?
No, not to my knowledge.
It would just be
generally
it would be
before
designated on the
graduation,
diploma.
you have your list of graduates and the board goes through and recognizes that would be the extent.
Yeah, like I didn't think there should be, but I want to make sure we're not like making a
would
bunch
fix-
of paperwork we have to look at and have no clue what's going on. Okay.
Hey Nick, I think one thing that I think is important consider, we've been doing a lot of work recently with our school performance profile. And one of the areas that we are below the state average is in our 5-year graduation rate. So that might help with that too. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
So initial marketing, you're going to be the head marketer, bringing the phones and talking to.
Well, that would start if I have it over break. That's going to be. I'm really excited about that. Actually, that's something I already got. I would love in January to be able to bring to the board. Hey, I've had really good conversations. They haven't signed their letter of intent, but they're excited about these programs, and I feel really good about the direction. Otherwise, it will be. I'm not so sure. I'll be honest and transparent with you on how those conversations go. So.
One last question, piece, commitment-wise. So if you commit to it, is it on a semester basis or it's the school year basis? When you commit to it, you're pretty much locked
Which
in
one?
for, either one.
Virtual or
yeah,
alternative?
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things that we want to prevent is that just the flip-flopping back and forth.
Yep.
Because if you're in an all-virtual environment, you try to come back to in-person classes, they're going to be at 2 different spots. If you start off in person and you're there for too long and you want to go online, then you all of a sudden have to get a lot of content in a short amount of time. So ideally, we would be looking at putting a time limit on that piece, just to make sure that, kids can complete those.
Got it.
Yeah. And for the virtual part, to me, I think the biggest concern is almost every kid would prefer to do the virtual school, So I think that's where we could run into a problem, Most, could show up for sports or their activities and just not go to school. So that'd be, having an 8th grader, that'd be my concern.
But you won't let them, right?
No.
So we'll have to make sure parents know they can say no. But yeah, there's a.
There are definitely options. I'm not saying that any is.
Yeah.
It's better, or that's for a parent or guardian to make those decisions.
This might be a question for Lori and maybe further in the weeds, but regarding like the timeline you're talking about setting, what would we need to consider for those dollars? Like, what's the cutoff? Like, to have somebody enrolled in this program to ensure that we get that money. Should we have a date that it stops and not go past? Like, to ensure that we get the money that's assigned to them.
Count day the same. Count day the same for
Count day
this.
would be the same.
Yep, everything would be the exact same there.
Yeah.
I do think we would.
If they want to come in.
We'd have a pretty good idea at the open enrollment time.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to get those numbers, like you said, for what we'd anticipate the breakdown would be for the diplomas, but then also kind of for if we did open this up, like you said, how many people would come out of the woodwork wanting to do virtual academy, and with parents' permission would do that, because hopefully it wouldn't happen, but I also don't want all of a sudden have 80 kids maybe enrolled in virtual academy our first year. That might be a bit, I don't know. I mean, if they're all open and rolling back in, sure, but yeah. Anything else, guys, on this topic? Thank you for coming up to the microphone.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we have next meeting topics. I really quickly wanted to say that we didn't talk about board convention. Who is going? I'm not even sure I know. I know us four. Brayden, you're going? Okay. You two are not going, correct? Okay. I did want to point out that from 3 to 4:30 on Thursday is the open meeting laws training, if you're able to go to it. I don't know. I saw you.
Yeah.
You guys got to
We
leave.
have to leave early. So
Okay.
miss.
No problem. There's going to be other opportunities, but if you are there, like I'm going to go to that. So state law was passed last year that requires a new training for publicly elected officials about open meeting laws. And it will be freely available through like webinars, I think, and stuff.
Well, I'll get all the list of options available and get all that information to you. You have 90 days to get it completed, so it's not like we have to do it next week. But
90 days from
today when you took oath. Yep.
So we'll get that to you guys. But if you were going, I just wanted to let you know about that.
90 days, including previous board members or newly sworn board members?
We're a little
You're
more
not
flexible.
required to take it as.
Yeah, we're technically
Okay.
not.
All right.
It's a good
Best practice,
practice to
probably.
have
Got it.
Well,
everyone.
there's new board members on there.
Best practice for
Yeah,
everybody.
it's only new ones
elected. It
after
just
the
started
law.
July 1.
Okay,
So we're grandfathered in, but
that's
good
the word I
practice.
was looking for
But-
too, yeah.
Yeah, but we are gonna take it in good faith also because like Lori took it and learned things that we didn't know. For instance, any texting or G-chatting or emailing each other during a meeting is considered part of open meeting. So we learned things through Lori and I was like, oh, I should really go to this to learn more about
Sure.
what are open meetings, what are the laws around them, instead of us just giving you piecemeal little things here and there that we've learned. And then I think that was it that I had before we go into next meeting topics. Yeah, so next meeting topics, we know work session before the meeting we'll have SRO discussion. Other topics that people want to make sure we're discussing or things you have planned.
Well, we'll come back with
Handbook.
the handbooks for
That'll be in December.
alt ed and virtual academies. More information about diplomas.
And all of that will be at the work session then for us to then vote on in January? Since we're doing work session meeting the same day in December, or?
There will be information I'll be pushing through for my Friday updates. So
Right,
it's
okay.
you're going to have a lot more information than just that half-hour piece. That's my plan. So I would like a board decision ideally in December. So we get to January, so that's when we can start promoting. So
So the alternative pathways.
not the SRO though. The SROs that is not something we have to make decisions on in December.
Okay.
Ideally January.
So handbooks and diploma, we'll get lots of information ahead of time. Always pick up a phone and call Aaron. We can discuss at the work session if needed, and then it'll go to a vote at the meeting.
And we'll have board policy. We'll have to update, so we'll have some policy revisions. If with I think the way it's in, Lori, didn't we discuss the work session is in as monthly? So we'll have to have some language change that I would bring to you. You'd be able to look at. So we'd have to adjust some of the.
You'll approve
policy
the
language.
calendar.
We'll approve the calendar,
Have the public
district
hearing.
calendar. So if there's an update on the election day, we'll know by then. But
Correct.
we'll have a plan. We'll do an SRO discussion at work session, but we'll not vote on anything for that. Other things that people have.
RSP will be here.
What?
RSP will be here in December for the
Really?
enrollment
Why do I always
update.
think they're like January or February?
We got them early this year.
So RSP is a firm we work with that tries to help predict enrollment, essentially. So that will be part of the work session. What? I said tries to help
be a-
predict. I use a lot of yeah.
Yeah, just a presentation like you would have at any other meeting.
Okay, anything coming from, do we anticipate anything from Shive Hattery?
Middle school and high school design development drawings will be approved or scheduled unless, is Maureen still here?
Yep.
Has that changed?
No, for next
Okay.
month.
For December.
So Shive Hattery will be here to discuss or present on that, or we just looking at
I
improving?
think we should just,
Look and improve.
yeah.
Because they'll be kind of the thing we decide on. Okay.
Yeah.
And then financials, do we have a presentation from you on anything in December? usually?
Probably, I don't know what that will be.
Okay, but you'll have a report.
The at-risk plan also you will approve in December. At-risk plan.
Is there a presentation on that then? Or no? We've had presentations in the past, but not risk.
Probably discuss it and
Okay.
update it.
I don't have the sheet open because I couldn't find
Yeah,
it.
no,
What
there won't be a
departments are presenting?
presentation at that point, not for that.
Okay.
There are two other presentations.
Yeah, what are those two?
Communications and Oak Hill Principal.
Okay.
So for future meetings in the new way we're doing it, can we have this more filled out coming into the meeting?
Yep, we didn't want to make assumptions, so this would be something we talk through. This would be filled out.
We'll discuss.
We would talk through.
Yeah. we'd actually hopefully as board leadership too, we would email you guys and be like, are there things you're curious about, wanting to hear more about that we need to put on there? But with the transition of the boards, we didn't want to assume how the new board would want to operate, and so it's been kind of like
It will look different.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. But we'll still discuss it so the public knows what's coming up at the next meetings.
Great.
Okay. Anything else, people?
Just want to mention something here real quick. The last few months have been kind of hard in our community with the SNAP benefits being government shut down and people stressing about SNAP benefits. I serve on the North Liberty Community Food Pantry, and shout out to our CCA students from East Ridge, donating a lot of cereal boxes to the pantries in the community to help feed our neighbors. Not just East Ridge, but the pantry has seen a lot of influx of donations and stuff to help our families, and some of those patrons are families that attend our school. So just hopefully it's over. The spigot is back on, or whatever you want to call it. But just recognition to the community for stepping up and helping our neighbors. So.
Okay. I think otherwise next meetings are, there's Donuts with Davidson Monday at Tiffin if you want to go. But otherwise, our next meeting is Thursday, December 11th. It'll start at 5:30. We have a lot to get through, so it'll be a longer one. It'll be all at once. But there's a facilities master planning on December 10th, and a SIAC meeting also, I believe, in December.
Yep.
So we'll get some emails pushed to everyone with various meetings that you're more than welcome to join if you're available. Any other questions or comments before we adjourn for the evening?
Welcome to all the new members.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, who wants to do the honors tonight?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.